Eli's eyes opened to a blinding white light. At first, he could see nothing but the smooth walls around him. His body felt strange, light, almost weightless, and he noticed that he was without any clothes. Panic crept into his chest. He tried to remember how he got here, but his mind was empty, like a chalkboard wiped clean. Around him, other humans were waking up too. Some sat up, rubbing their heads. Others looked around with wide, frightened eyes. A young woman with dark hair plastered to her forehead whispered, "Where are we?" Her voice was shaky, but it carried a hint of curiosity. The room was clean and silent, save for a low, mechanical hum. The walls were smooth, metallic, and unbroken, except for small panels that glowed faintly. There were no windows, no doors, that he could see, and no furniture beyond the soft mats they had been lying on. Eli struggled to his feet. His muscles felt weak, but his mind was sharp. He looked at the others and noticed the same fear mirrored in their eyes. Yet beneath that fear he sensed something else, an instinct to survive, to understand, to act. He took a deep breath and tried to calm himself. "Listen," Eli said, his voice steady though low. "We don't know where we are, but panicking won't help. Let's look around, together." Some of the others nodded, and they began to explore. The room was small, but as they examined it, they found a panel that reacted to touch. Lights flashed as Eli's fingers brushed it. The panel displayed strange symbols, none of which he could understand, yet he felt a thrill. This was something he could figure out. As they moved carefully, one of the humans, a young man with bright eyes, accidentally pressed another panel. A small door slid open silently in the wall. Their eyes widened. This was their first sign of hope, an exit, or at least another area. The group hesitated, then Eli stepped forward. "We go together. No one goes alone." They entered the corridor, which stretched far beyond what they could see. The walls were lined with smooth, reflective panels. Occasionally, soft lights flickered, guiding their way. There was no sound of footsteps, no hum of machinery beyond the low background noise. It was too quiet, almost unreal. As they walked, they began to notice strange details. The floor was slightly warm under their bare feet. The walls had seams, suggesting the facility had been built with precision, and in some corners they saw pods similar to the ones they had awoken from. Some were empty, others still held humans, or something that looked like humans, but they were motionless, unresponsive. Eli stopped and stared at one pod. "What is this place?" he whispered. He could feel a chill run down his spine, though the temperature was mild. He knelt, looking closely at the pod. It was made of transparent material, showing a figure curled inside. The figure's chest rose and fell slowly, alive but enclosed in a strange liquid-filled capsule. A woman, who had been silent until now, gasped. They're alive?" "Yes," Eli said softly. "But why? Why are they like this?" The group continued cautiously, each step making their hearts race. They passed rooms filled with machinery and lights that blinked in complex patterns. They didn't touch anything, but they watched closely, learning. There was a rhythm to this place, a system that seemed logical if confusing. Then they reached a larger room. It had several monitors, all showing data they could not understand, graphs, moving images, and text in alien symbols. One monitor flickered, showing a human figure moving through a corridor as if being watched. Eli's stomach tightened. "They're observing us," he said. "Who?" a woman asked, fear creeping into her voice. "I don't know yet," Eli admitted, "but we need to be careful. Whoever built this place wants something from us. We need to figure out what before it's too late." Despite the fear, the humans felt something growing inside them. Determination. They had no weapons, no clothes, no idea of the dangers ahead. But they had something no machine could replicate: thought, curiosity, and the will to survive. They explored further, finding doors and panels that seemed to respond to their presence. They tested ideas together, pressing buttons, touching panels, observing the results. Each success gave them hope. Each failure made them think harder, work together better. Hours passed, or perhaps only minutes. Time was strange in the sterile corridors, but gradually they learned more. They discovered a room filled with supplies, blankets, basic food, and some clothing items. The clothes were simple, light, and uniform-like. It wasn't much, but it was enough for modesty and comfort. Eli distributed the clothing carefully. "We still don't know what's out there, but at least we are better prepared now," he said. As they dressed, they noticed more pods beyond the supply room. Some held alien creatures, strange and unlike anything they had seen before. Others contained humans who looked frightened, but alive. Eli realized that the lab wasn't only observing humans, it was observing life itself. "They are testing us," Eli said, his voice calm but firm. "They want to see what humans do when stripped of everything. Everything but their mind, their courage, and their ability to work together. And I think we're showing them." The group paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. They were alone, in an alien lab, stripped bare of possessions and memories. Yet even here, fear could not control them. They were learning, thinking, adapting. They were human. Eli looked at each of them. "We don't know what comes next. But one thing is clear. We survive by staying together and by using our minds. No matter what this place is, it cannot take that from us." A quiet determination settled over the group. They may have awakened in a strange lab without clothes or knowledge, but they were already proving something extraordinary. Humans, when united and clever, could face anything. Even the unknown horrors that waited beyond the doors. And somewhere, deep in the lab's control center, alien observers watched the humans. For the first time, they noticed something unexpected. The humans were not simply surviving, they were thinking, planning, and cooperating in ways that no machine could predict. The first step of their journey had begun. They had awakened, yes, but they had also begun to fight back in the only way humans could, with intelligence, courage, and unity. Eli led the group cautiously down the long, gleaming corridor. Every step echoed softly against the smooth walls, and every shadow seemed alive. Though the humans had found some clothes and food, they were still very vulnerable. Their minds raced, with questions. Who had captured them? Why were they here? And most importantly, how could they escape? They reached a junction where 3 doors branched off in different directions. Each door had strange panels beside it, covered in symbols and lights that blinked irregularly. Eli knelt and studied them carefully. "These are security panels," he said. "They seem to respond to touch or movement. Maybe if we understand them, we can open the doors." A young woman, Mira, stepped forward with a curious smile. "Let me try," she said. Her fingers hovered over the lights. "Sometimes it feels like it reacts to our thinking, not just our hands." Eli nodded. "Be careful, but yes, try." Mira touched one panel lightly, then another. Lights flickered, shifted colors, and one of the doors clicked. Slowly, it began to slide open. The group froze for a moment, their hearts racing with excitement and fear. The door revealed a larger chamber filled with more machines, more blinking lights, and rows of pods like the ones they had awoken from. But this room also had monitors, some showing corridors, others showing data streams in alien code. "This is another observation room," Eli whispered. "They're watching everything, every move we make, every thought we act on. They're recording it." Despite the tension, the humans felt a spark of hope. If the doors could be opened by understanding the panels, perhaps there was a way to escape the lab entirely. They moved slowly, observing and learning. A boy, Liam, pointed to a panel near the center of the room. "This one is different," he said. "It's pulsing in a pattern, almost like a heartbeat." Eli examined it. "Maybe it's a control panel for the doors beyond this room. If we can figure it out, we might reach the outer sections. Whoa." Humans worked together. They pressed buttons in sequence, touched lights, and watched the changes on the monitors. Each success taught them something new. When a door opened, they celebrated quietly, their energy renewed. When a panel didn't respond, they paused, analyzed, and tried again. Hours, or what felt like hours, passed in careful trial and error. They discovered patterns in the machines, realizing the lab had been built for observation, not for immediate punishment. The systems responded to logic and curiosity, not just brute strength. Then they came across a hallway lined with small, transparent pods, each filled with strange liquids. Some contained humans, like themselves, who stirred slowly, but remained unconscious. Others contained creatures they had never seen, thin, tall beings with glowing eyes and delicate limbs. Eli felt a shiver run down his spine. "They're testing all life," Mira said softly. "Not just humans." Eli nodded. "And they want to see how we react under pressure, how we work together, how we solve problems." He looked at the group, and determination filled his voice. "This is not just about escape. It's about proving that humans, even stripped of everything, can think, adapt, and survive." The humans continued deeper into the lab, learning more with every step. At one junction, a panel displayed a map of the facility. Though most of the symbols were unreadable, Eli noticed shapes that looked like rooms, corridors, and exits. He studied the map carefully. "If this is correct," he said, "we can reach an outer chamber. Maybe it leads to the platform's surface. We have to try." They moved with renewed purpose. Each human contributed their thoughts, noticing details others missed. They observed the cameras, the blinking lights, and the patterns of doors opening and closing. Their teamwork began to shine. No one acted alone, and everyone's voice was heard. Finally, they reached a heavy door at the end of a wide corridor. It had a massive panel beside it, glowing with a soft blue light. Eli stepped forward, studying it carefully. He noticed a pattern, a sequence of pulses, each with a slightly different rhythm. He realized the panel responded not just to touch, but to timing. "Everyone watch carefully," he said. "I think I see the pattern. We have to mimic it." The group gathered around. Eli demonstrated, pressing the lights in the sequence he had noticed. The panel pulsed, then clicked. The heavy door slid open slowly, revealing a vast chamber beyond. The humans froze in awe. The room was enormous, filled with more machines, more pods, and a wide central corridor leading to what looked like an exit. But the air was filled with tension. Somewhere, the lab's observers were surely watching. "This is it," Eli whispered. "We go together, we move carefully, and we think always." As they advanced, the floor beneath their feet shifted slightly, indicating another security measure. Lights flashed, and a low hum began to increase. Eli raised his hand. "Wait, let's watch first." They observed the floor and noticed a pattern, pressure points that moved like a puzzle. The humans worked together, stepping in sequence, careful to avoid the sensors. With each careful step, the hum lessened. They had learned that observation and intelligence could bypass the traps the lab set. Finally, they reached the far side of the room. A large door stood before them, its surface smooth and reflective. Eli touched the panel beside it, and it slowly opened. Beyond was darkness, unknown and frightening, but filled with hope. "We did it," Mira whispered. "We made it this far." "Yes," Eli said, "but this is just the beginning. We have to keep thinking, keep working together. The real escape is still ahead." The group paused for a moment, looking back at the room they had just passed. Machines hummed quietly, pods glowed softly, and somewhere alien observers surely took note. But the humans were not afraid. They were learning, adapting, and proving that even stripped of everything, they were capable of extraordinary things. Together, they stepped forward into the darkness, ready for whatever the next challenge might be. They had survived the first tests, but the lab held more secrets, and the humans were determined to uncover them all. Eli led the group toward the chamber that the monitors had shown them. It was larger than any room they had seen so far, with high ceilings and walls lined with alien machinery. The hum of energy was stronger here, and soft lights blinked rhythmically along the floor. Every sensor, every camera, seemed to follow their movement. "Stay close," Eli whispered. "We don't know what they are capable of yet, but we know what we can do, together." Mira, Liam, and the others moved in careful steps, studying the floor and walls. They had learned from experience that every machine had a pattern, every light had a purpose. By observing and thinking carefully, they could avoid traps and find safe paths. At the center of the room was a massive control panel. The monitors displayed doors, corridors, and security systems. Eli motioned for the group to gather. "If we can control this panel, we can open doors, deactivate traps, and find a way to the surface. But it will take teamwork." The humans divided their tasks. Mira and Liam studied the buttons and lights, noting sequences that seemed to control specific doors. Eli focused on the monitors, watching the patterns of cameras and sensors. Others checked the floor and walls for hidden traps or triggers. Step by step, they began to understand how the room worked. After careful observation, Mira pressed a sequence of buttons. Lights on the panel flickered. Then a series of doors clicked open along a nearby corridor. Cheers erupted softly among the group, but Eli hushed them quickly. "This is only the beginning," he said. "We must stay focused. The lab will notice changes, and they may try to stop us." The humans advanced, moving down the newly opened corridor. Each step was careful, precise. They avoided pressure-sensitive tiles and timed their movements to the rhythm of blinking lights. With every corridor they crossed, their confidence grew. They were no longer just reacting, they were anticipating, planning, and adapting. As they approached another large door, a soft alarm sounded somewhere in the distance. The group froze. Red lights blinked along the walls, casting a warning glow. Eli quickly examined the panel beside the door. "It's a time sequence," he said. "We need to press these buttons in order and step on the floor pads in rhythm with the lights. Watch me." He demonstrated the pattern, moving carefully while pressing the buttons. The floor pads lit up with each correct step. Mira and Liam followed, mimicking his movements. Slowly, carefully, they reached the far side of the door. The alarm stopped. "We're learning faster than they expected," Eli said quietly. "That's why we have an advantage. Machines may predict patterns, but humans create them too." Beyond the door was a chamber filled with pods, some still containing humans, others empty. The group paused, catching their breath. They realized that the lab had been studying not just humans like themselves, but all life inside these pods. Each one was a record of fear, learning, and adaptation. "We can't leave anyone behind," Eli said firmly. "Every human we free is another mind that can think and adapt. Together we are stronger." They carefully opened the pods and helped the humans inside. Some were frightened and disoriented, but Eli and the group reassured them, offering clothing, blankets, and calm words. Slowly, more humans joined their escape. With their numbers increased, they moved to the next corridor. This section of the lab was more complex. Machines whirred, sensors blinked, and the lights shifted unpredictably. Eli studied the monitors, analyzing patterns, while the others observed and tested the controls. After several attempts, they discovered a rhythm in the lights and buttons. By coordinating carefully, they could deactivate the security measures long enough to pass safely. Each successful movement built their confidence and proved that intelligence, not strength, was their greatest weapon. Finally, they reached a massive door that appeared to lead outside. Through a small window, they saw a bright expanse beyond, a platform suspended in space, orbiting a distant planet. Their hearts raced with excitement. Freedom was close, yet still uncertain. Eli approached the control panel beside the door. "This is it," he said. "We open this door together and we move as one. No mistakes." Mira, Liam, and the others worked with him, pressing buttons in sequence, watching the floor and walls for hidden triggers. Slowly, the door began to slide open. A gust of cool, artificial air rushed past them, carrying the scent of the outside chamber. The humans stepped forward cautiously. The platform stretched far ahead, with corridors leading to observation towers and other rooms. Somewhere, alien. Observers must be watching, yet the humans felt a growing sense of triumph. They had learned the lab's secrets, avoided its traps, and adapted faster than the machines could predict. "This is just the next stage," Eli said. "We're not safe yet, but we've proven something incredible. Even without tools, weapons, or memory, humans can adapt, cooperate, and overcome challenges." They advanced carefully, observing each corridor and monitoring for changes. Machines hummed and lights flickered, but nothing could stop their careful planning. Every door opened with their understanding. Every trap was bypassed with logic and teamwork. As they reached the central platform, they paused to look back at the lab they had escaped. The vast chambers, the blinking monitors, the pods, they were all part of a system designed to control, to observe, to limit. Yet the humans had outsmarted it, step by step, with nothing but thought, courage, and unity. Eli turned to the group. "We've escaped the inner lab, but the truth beyond this platform is even greater. The aliens are not just observers. They have a reason for studying us, and we need to know what it is." The humans prepared themselves, adjusting clothing, catching their breath, and readying minds for the next challenge. Though still vulnerable, they were learning faster, thinking more clearly, and moving together with purpose. Their intelligence and cooperation had carried them this far, and they knew it would carry them even further. With a final nod from Eli, the humans stepped forward across the platform. Ahead lay more corridors, more machines, and the mysteries of the aliens who had captured them. Yet for the first time, the humans felt something stronger than fear: confidence. They were learning, adapting, and proving that no machine or alien could outthink the human mind when humans worked together. Step by careful step, they moved forward, ready for whatever the lab and the universe might throw at them next. The humans moved slowly across the platform, each step cautious but confident. The corridors stretched before them, lined with alien machines and blinking lights. Every panel, every pod, seemed to hold another secret. They had learned to observe. First, think carefully, and act together. Each small success had built their courage and sharpened their minds. Eli led the group into a wide chamber at the center of the platform. Monitors lined the walls and holographic images floated in the air. Some images displayed the humans themselves, walking through corridors or interacting with panels. Others showed Earth, distant and blue, a small marble in the vastness of space. Mira gasped. "They've been watching us. From there?" "Yes," Eli said quietly. "It seems this lab is part of a larger operation. Someone, or something, is observing Earth and studying humans. But why?" The group moved closer to the monitors. One screen displayed data streams in alien symbols. Another showed human figures, in pods, frozen or resting, like the ones they had freed. A third monitor projected a model of a planet with points of light moving across its surface. It became clear that the lab's creators were not only observing humans, they were tracking Earth itself. Liam frowned. "Do they mean to harm humans? Or is this just study?" Eli shook his head. "I don't know yet, but I think it's more than simple observation. They want to see how humans behave under pressure, how we adapt when everything is taken from us. And they've been doing it for a long time. The humans looked around, realizing the depth of what they had escaped. They had thought the lab was just a prison, but it was far more than that. It was a testing ground, a place to measure the limits of human intelligence, courage, and cooperation. Mira touched one of the holographic images of Earth. So, we're part of a bigger experiment? Yes, Eli said. But that's not all. We're also proof that humans can surprise even those who think they understand us. That's why we've been able to escape this far. Machines and experiments can predict patterns, but humans create them. Humans think, adapt, and work together in ways no machine can expect. The humans paused, absorbing the truth. They had been captured, studied, and tested, stripped of everything familiar. Yet through observation, intelligence, and unity, they had survived. They had adapted faster than the aliens anticipated. They had outsmarted traps, opened doors, and freed others along the way. Eli turned to the group. We've learned more than they expected. We've proven that even without memory, tools, or weapons, humans can think, cooperate, and survive. That is our strength. That is what makes us unique. The group looked at one another, pride mixing with determination. They realized that survival was not only about reaching safety, it was about understanding the truth and using that knowledge. A sudden beep echoed through the chamber. A new panel activated, displaying a message in alien symbols. Eli studied it, then pointed to patterns and sequences he recognized. It's a set of controls for the outer chambers. If we use this, we can reach the platform's surface. That's our next step. But we don't know what's out there, Mira said. It could be dangerous. Eli smiled faintly. We've faced the lab. We've outsmarted every trap and solved every puzzle so far. We can handle what comes next. We just have to stay smart, careful, and together. The group worked quickly. They divided tasks, pressing sequences, observing patterns, and testing the controls. Each human contributed, using logic, observation, and intuition. Slowly, the outer doors began to unlock. Lights shifted, and the floor hummed with energy. The way forward was opening. As they moved toward the surface, the humans paused near a large viewing window. Beyond it stretched the blackness of space, dotted with stars and distant planets. They saw Earth far below, tiny and fragile. For the first time, the full scale of what they had escaped became real. "This is incredible," Liam whispered. "We're really here, in space, and we're still human." "Yes," Eli said, "and being human is exactly why we've come this far. Intelligence, courage, cooperation. That is what defines us, not weapons or machines. That is what makes humans stronger than any chain, any experiment." The group continued, now filled with renewed purpose. They moved through the outer chambers, careful but determined. Machines shifted and lights flickered, but they followed patterns they had already learned. They avoided detection, solved problems, and pressed forward together. At the edge of the platform, the humans found a large observation tower. It had access to the platform's exit systems, including transport tubes that could carry them to nearby shuttles. Eli studied the controls. "Carefully. This is it," he said. "If we use this, we can reach a shuttle and leave the platform. We've learned how it works, and we've proven we can adapt. Now we take the final step." Mira and Liam helped operate the control panel. The humans worked in unison, pressing buttons, matching sequences, and monitoring sensors. Slowly, the transport tubes activated. The pathway to the shuttle opened, ready to carry them away from the lab. Eli turned to the group. "Remember what we've learned. We survive not by force, but by thought, by unity, by courage. Together we can face anything, even the unknown beyond this platform." The humans nodded, a quiet confidence in their eyes. They had faced fear, uncertainty, and captivity. They had learned the lab's secrets and outsmarted its machines, and now, for the first time, freedom was within reach. Step by careful step, they moved toward the transport tubes. The hum of machinery was no longer a threat. It was a rhythm they understood. Each human climbed into the tubes, their hearts steady, their minds sharp. They were ready for what came next. As the tubes began to move, the humans looked back at the lab, its glowing walls, blinking lights, and silent pods. They had escaped the tests, proven their intelligence and courage, and discovered the truth. Humans were stronger than any experiment, smarter than any machine, and capable of facing challenges no one had predicted. Eli smiled, a sense of pride and hope filling him. "We've faced the truth," he said quietly. "And we've survived. Now we carry that knowledge with us, back to Earth and wherever humans go next." The transport tubes carried them forward, toward the shuttles, toward freedom, and toward the next step in their journey. They were no longer just captives. They were survivors, thinkers, and explorers. And humanity, in all its intelligence and courage, had proven itself once again. The transport tubes hummed softly as the humans moved toward the shuttles. Each step was precise, careful, and filled with purpose. For the first time since waking in the lab, they felt the thrill of approaching freedom. The machines around them had lost their control over the humans. Instead, they were tools they could now understand and use. Eli led the group, checking the controls and observing the pathways to the shuttles. "We stay together," he said firmly. "We move carefully, but we do not hesitate. Every step we take is ours. We are in control now." Mira, Liam, and the others followed closely. They were no longer frightened captives, but a united group of thinkers, learners, and survivors. Each human had discovered the strength within themselves, the intelligence, courage, and cooperation that had allowed them to survive and outsmart the lab. As they reached the first shuttle, Eli examined the control panel. Lights blinked, and sequences ran across the screen. "This is the transport system," he explained. "We need to synchronize our actions to activate it. One wrong step could delay us, but nothing will stop us if we work together." The humans moved as a team. They pressed buttons in precise order, matched sequences, and monitored the shuttle systems. Slowly, the controls accepted their input, and the shuttle doors opened. The group climbed aboard, anticipation and hope filling their hearts. Once inside, Eli activated the main panel. The shuttle's engines hummed to life, and soft vibrations shook the cabin. Through the windows, the humans saw the platform stretching above and below them, a massive structure orbiting a distant planet, full of mysteries and machines they had finally understood. "We did it," Mira whispered, her eyes wide with awe. "We're leaving the lab." "Yes," Eli said. "But we're not just leaving. We're taking everything we've learned with us. Our intelligence, our courage, our unity. These are stronger than any machine, stronger than any experiment." The shuttle lifted smoothly, guided by the humans' careful operation of the controls. Outside, the platform faded behind them, and stars stretched endlessly in every direction. Earth glimmered in the distance, a small blue gem of life and possibility. As they approached the planet, the humans reflected on everything they had experienced. The lab, the pods, the alien machines. They had been tests, challenges designed to measure their strength, adaptability, and spirit. Yet despite fear, uncertainty, and deprivation, they had prevailed. Eli turned to the group. "Remember this. It wasn't tools, weapons, or force that saved us. It was our mind, our ability to think, to cooperate, and to face the unknown. That is what makes humans extraordinary." The shuttle descended into Earth's atmosphere. Clouds streaked past the windows, and the humans felt a sense of wonder unlike anything they had experienced before. For the first time, They were not running, not hiding. They were returning home, victorious, and changed forever. They landed on a quiet field, far from any city. The shuttle's engines powered down, and silence enveloped them. The humans stepped out, feeling the grass under their feet and the warmth of sunlight on their skin. For a moment they simply stood, breathing deeply, absorbing the reality that they were free. Mira smiled, looking at the others. "We did it. We really did it." "Yes," Eli said, nodding. "And now we carry this knowledge forward. We've proven something important. Humans are capable of thinking, adapting, and overcoming challenges that seem impossible. We've survived without tools, without weapons, and even without memory of who we were. And we've grown stronger because of it." The group walked together, exploring the field. Though they were physically safe, their minds were alive with possibilities. They had faced unknown machines, mysterious pods, and alien observers. They had discovered the truth about the lab, the experiments, and the watchers. And they had learned that humans, united and intelligent, could prevail against any challenge. Eli paused and looked at the sky. Out there in space, there are observers who think they understand humans. But we've shown them that humans cannot be predicted or controlled. We create, we adapt, and we survive. That is our greatest strength. The humans nodded, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. They were more than survivors. They were explorers, thinkers, and pioneers. They had faced the unknown and proven that humanity's intelligence and courage were stronger than any chain or test. As the sun rose higher, casting light across the field, the humans felt a new beginning. They had escaped the lab. They had learned the truth. And now they carried that knowledge with them, not just for survival, but for life, growth, and the future of humanity. Eli turned to the group one final time. "The lab may have stripped us of everything, but it could not take our minds, our courage, or our unity. That is what makes humans extraordinary. That is what makes us free." Mira, Liam, and the others smiled, feeling the truth of his words. They were free, not only from the lab, but from fear. Their experience had taught them that even in the face of the unknown, humans could overcome, adapt, and thrive. The humans walked together, leaving the shuttle behind, stepping into a world full of possibilities. They knew that the journey ahead would hold new challenges, but they also knew that they had the strength to face them. Intelligence, courage, cooperation, these were their weapons. And with them, humanity could triumph over anything. As they disappeared into the sunlight, the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter. The aliens who had observed the lab may have expected obedience, fear, or confusion. Instead, they had witnessed something unexpected. Humans thinking, learning, and thriving against all odds. And so, the story ended not with chains or fear, but with triumph. The humans had escaped. They had learned the truth. And humanity had proven once again that intelligence, courage, and unity were stronger than any captivity, any experiment, or any challenge in the universe. The journey was far from over, but the humans were ready. Together they stepped forward into a world full of possibilities, carrying with them the knowledge that the greatest power of all was not in machines, weapons, or experiments, but in the human mind, united and courageous.